Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second bowl of cereal podcast.
My name is Jonathan, and I am a software developer and 3D artist.
And I'm David, your local gamer and actor.
And together, we are two brothers talking about television, movies, gaming, and anything else that tickles our fancy. Today is our first episode, and I would like to begin by discussing a TV show that has been near and dear to my heart. This is an adult animated TV show that I think is probably one of the best examples of letting the creators do their thing, and I was very happy to be able to share that with my brother. This show, of course, is The Venture Brothers. So, The Venture Brothers follows the story of two twins, or one pair of twins, Dean and Hank, as they are the child of Dr. Thaddeus Venture, aka Rusty Venture, who is basically a parody of Johnny Quest, an old show from the 60s, where if he grew up and he brought his own sons on adventures around the world. So, David, what was your thoughts?
Well, the show had crazy twists, lots of great comedy moments, a lot of dark humor, but also very well crafted. It ain't just your common run-of-the-mill toilet humor.
Yeah.
Some great callbacks, some
Mm.
great deep cuts,
Oh, yeah.
all around great thinker of a show, but sometimes you don't even need to be a great thinker like me to enjoy it. Enjoy it.
No, yeah, I mean, it was definitely the kind of thing where the creators want you to rewatch it a few times. There's so many details that I missed the first time watching. I definitely pointed out a lot of the stuff to you.
Oh yeah, things definitely would have went over my head if you had not told
Yeah.
me the background and history. And
But
I'm
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Mhm.
I'm one of those people that you could explain a joke and I'll still laugh at it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think one of the great things about the show too is that like it started off with just a villain of the week almost. They introduced a lot of the villains and heroes from the show, a lot of other characters in the first season, but then things don't really start paying off until the second or third season. And then the world building kind of gets more and more insane. You get more and more colorful characters. What was your favorite character from the show?
Well, if I had to choose, it would probably be Brock Sampson,
Of course,
their
starter
bodyguard.
machine. Yeah,
Yup. Dude's
quarter Polish,
crazy
quarter
insane.
quarter Winnebago.
Yeah. Dude's crazy. He's got crazy mentality, crazy skills, and he's just overall that voice, you know?
Yeah,
It
classic.
just well, yup.
Patrick Warburton, who voices what Joe from Family Guy.
Yup.
He was also Putty in Seinfeld.
Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely up there alongside with, of course, the great and mighty Monarch.
Oh yeah, yeah. All hail
Guys,
the mighty Monk.
yep, dude's crazy, and his arc with his henchmen, 21, 24. Those
Right? Oh
guys
man.
also great, amazing characters.
Yeah. So one of the things about the show was that um the henchmen, right? Like it starts by just having, regular just henchmen being cannon fodder to Brock Sampson, right? Like they're all just dying randomly. But then you get a few, one or two who start having their own personalities, and then we follow them more and more through the series. And then it ends with yeah, like a huge progression for one of them at least.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, you'd think that the way, like, I imagine we don't want to go heavy into spoilers for people who still want to watch it that
Mm.
haven't seen it, but it's crazy the way things go through halfway through the seasons, and
Well, yeah.
then
Okay, so let's give a spoiler warning right here. What
yes,
specifically are you talking about?
just it was 24 that
Yeah,
dies, right?
Yes, yep,
Guy who
24
sounds like
dies.
Ray Romano.
Yeah,
That
yeah. During the
and like it's
battle of
hilarious how like just a
oh,
few episodes beforehand they were talking about how oh they never die.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep. They're the exact combination of
Uh
dispensable and the and invincible.
yeah.
Uh
But yeah, and then that just throws 21 into his whole character development progress through like the seasons and his just the what he goes through
yeah.
joining like leaving the monarch and then joining
Finding
back with him
himself,
essentially. Yep.
right? Yeah, yeah. Like that was a really big character arc for Gary is the name of the henchman we're
Yep.
talking
The
about.
actual name.
Henchman
Yep.
21. So
Yep.
what happens is he goes from this doughy little 15-year-old kid who was stolen basically for the crew of the Monarch, and he ends up joining them. And for the first two seasons, we kind of just see him as this loser, like nerdy cliche of a guy, along with his buddy henchman 24. Again, those were the two henchmen that were following through the series, kind of seeing their goofy antics until things get a little bit more serious. Then suddenly he starts going through puberty a lot harder, right? Like he transitions from the body of a 15-year-old to like the body of maybe like an 18-year-old. Maybe he's in his early 20s at the end of the show. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much time passed, but yeah, he's definitely like I think in some scenes like well, I don't think he was taller than the Monarch because the Monarch is pretty tall. He
Yeah.
he was straight up. I mean, again, yeah, not to spoil things, but he's got some interesting things going on in his DNA.
Yep.
But yeah, he became pretty freaking yoked himself. Um, and Yeah, we got to see that he dabbled with being the good guy, but then decided ultimately that he was a ride or die henchman.
Yeah. Like dabbling being a good guy in all in the means of him doing his main bad guy thing as well.
Yeah, yeah. And we're using the terms good guy and bad guy a little loosely here,
Yep,
because
because it's a big thing in the show on itself.
yeah.
It's lore, it's backstory, it's what's the word? It's structure like the story structure of it all where it's like you've got people who are there these organizations of the guild and the OSI
hmm
and they
So yeah, the
prefer to
guild
use
is
yeah,
the organization that handles the villains, or rather, they call themselves the antagonist
yep,
relations, and then the OSI is like the shield, the government, the CIA, whatnot. They handle the protagonists.
yeah,
But like realistically, the OSI is more a direct parody to Shield, right, from the Marvel
yeah,
comics, whereas the Guild is less because like they're not like a direct parody to like the Legion of Doom or the
yeah. They do
Syndicate
have
of Evil.
yeah,
No,
they do have that
exactly.
one group of
Yeah, there
people who
was.
is a
Yep.
direct parody to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who was I forget what the guy's name, but he was supposed to
yeah,
be like what Jason Pollock, a parody of
yeah,
Jason Pollock.
and yeah, in like the last season.
Yeah, the Lex Luthor looking guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah, yeah. So like they, even though they don't really work as like a government organization, whereas you think OSI really does work as a government organization, but they are really kind of two sides of the same coin in this regard, right?
yeah.
So tell me about that. What did you think about how they handled good and evil, right and wrong? That morality and how they separated that from what they actually do in practice.
Oh yeah, they did pretty great job and like how things aren't always in black and white for each character. Like all characters aren't all evil or all bad. And
Yeah,
one
they
great
have their
episode,
codes. Mhm.
yep, one great episode was when the what was his name? Henry Killinger
Uh-huh. Yeah.
came to Dr. Venture to help him out with his issues. And
Yeah.
then the way that episode goes to where he essentially goes and tries to make him a bad guy, like
Yeah.
everything that he put him
Yeah.
through, all of his trauma, all of his going through his like finances and his structures, even getting him his own henchmen,
Right. Yeah.
and
Setting
then
everything up
getting
like
him his yup, and then getting him his own evil costume. And
yeah.
I
You don't
I I almost didn't put it together until the
yeah.
last moments that he
Right.
was turning him into a villain, and then it was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it all makes sense.
Yeah, the Hillary Killinger, the like just like all of his speeches were great in the series. That he goes like,
Yeah.
"All the henchmen are waiting for your command.
Yep.
They must strike down your brother." Uh,
Yeah.
that was a
But
great.
then yeah, it would make me go through. It's like, yeah, he's definitely not a great guy. But then you'd think, oh, Rusty still very much thinks of himself as a good guy, even though
Yeah,
all the stuff that he
right.
does
Yeah,
very much
true.
not considered good Samaritan quality.
Yeah,
And then it's
speaking
like,
of
wow.
which, right? Like I think one of the worst things he did was at the very beginning of the show where he uses will create something called a joy can, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out that the secret ingredient to making this joy can work, which was basically just like a little holographic, uh, basically the room of requirement from Harry Potter, or the danger room from X-Men, or let's say the was the holodeck from Star Trek, right? More
Yeah.
or less all the same thing, except this was specifically for pleasure stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, he uses the heart of an orphan. I'm not sure how he uses it, in what scientific capacity you could really use that to do that, but that's the show.
This
Which also
machine was
brings up
used
an
to make the was used by a Forsaken Child. Well, I didn't use the whole thing.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, I mean, like that's an interesting aspect of the show, or at least throughout the whole show, is how smart actually is Rusty Venture, right?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the things that we see him claim to have invented or to have worked on were obviously things that he stole from his father or from his brother, and later on in the show.
Hmm.
Like we never fully see him invent things, except on certain occasions where he showed that he knew, like he claimed that he designed the Gargantua 2, right, which was this big space
Yeah.
station in the second half of the series. So he claims to have designed it, even though in reality, uh like I mean, well, so he was contracted to build it. So he builds it using interns that he accidentally mutates to become geniuses. Well, some of them become geniuses. They actually do create the race shield that they need, but he says that they build it to his specifications, and then he is able to then find the reset button, right? So he knows where it was. So it wasn't like he was illiterate of the blueprints, and it actually does lend credibility to him having designed it, even if they did modify it just to have four arms.
Yeah.
So that obviously he couldn't fix his father's shrink ray, right, when he was doing the competition against Orpheus. He also couldn't actually reverse the mutations of that episode where he tried to make just like a cocktail of like roofies and Benadryl and a bunch of other things. Uh,
Yeah.
he invented
Oh,
the ooh ray supposedly at the
yeah.
very first episode, and then also possibly the vacuum cleaner, the power vacuum cleaner that
Oh,
they kept
yeah.
talking about.
And he
Um,
did make his own killbot before.
yeah, that's true. Gardo, yeah, Gardo.
Gardo.
Yeah. We don't know how much of that was, again, like a lot of things were just things that he might have repurposed from his dad. Like the
Yeah.
walking eye, obviously when he built it into Helper, but I don't know, was the walking eye also him? Like obviously it wasn't even an original design. It was supposed to be a cliche. and that was the
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah, him essentially just redesigning the helper with the walking robot later on as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Yep, yeah.
Hilarious.
And then when he makes the help, like yeah, at the very in the very last season, or at the very least in the finale, spoiler alerts again, when they make the helper pods, um, like it sounded like the designs were already done, and then all he asked was to upgrade the supercapacitors.
Yeah,
So like it seemed like either Billy and White did all the work or Jonas had already had all the work before them.
yeah,
So I don't think he even made the helper pods either.
yep. And just another thing, though, this shows the number of characters that they have and just how they're able to delve into each of them as well is crazy.
Yeah,
Like we didn't even talk about Billy and White until just now, but they're also
right.
pretty.
Oh, I
And
love
then we
Billy and
got
White.
the
That
triad.
oh
Those
yeah, the
guys.
Order of the
Love those
Triad.
guys.
Yeah. I wish we had gotten more backstory. We like they didn't really reveal too much until near the end, where like we started seeing more of like their arch nemesis, or not really the arch nemesis, but we got to see the with the Outrider. But he
Yeah.
kind of didn't. He stopped being relevant after the third or fourth season, I
Yeah.
think. Fourth
He
season.
he was at least the he was at least there for the final movie as well.
Was
So it
he?
was nice having the wait, I was talking about Dr. Orpheus
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh okay. Yeah. So
and
I'm
the
like,
triad, yeah.
yeah, yeah. The triad. Oh yeah. They could not have a finale without the triad.
Yeah, of
That would have been a disgrace. But
course.
yeah, I thought you meant
The yeah, the
Outrider.
yeah.
Yeah he didn't really come up again. It
No.
was it implied that Orpheus becomes more powerful than him after, or not necessarily
I
directly
don't
after, but
think so.
at least in the at the no okay
Yeah, we didn't get to see much of the daughter as well either, even though
yeah
we left her like talking having him meet the guy voiced by Bob's Burger.
yeah
Yeah.
the
Having him
master
tell him
right
that yeah, having him tell her that she's like a witch or that she can become a great witch and that we never
yeah
see her again after
sorcerer
that.
right
Yes.
yeah well no we saw her right she
Well, for
like
the
at the
prom.
no. We see that the prom happened before that. We see her
Oh.
remember it was in the after credit scene. Uh like where her, Dean, and Hank are all talking as she's packing up to leave, and like Jefferson is trying to move one of the bags with his magic powers, but you know, he doesn't really
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't that the same episode though or
Yeah, that was the same episode.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
we don't yeah,
that's
that's
when she's
when
leaving.
yeah, and then we don't see much of her after that.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant
Yeah.
like we don't see after her directly after that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said that she or John Benjamin, who voiced the master,
Yeah.
aka Bob's Burgers, aka Archer.
Yep.
He told her that he needs to go learn from the Outrider or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could have been an interesting story to see her come back. Maybe also her friend from before. Remember, I forget what her
Yeah.
name was,
The
but
one who got the card from Mrs. the Monarch.
yeah, right. That seemed like it
I
was going
think
to
that
become
would have gone
something.
somewhere as well, yeah.
Yeah, but then we just got a throwaway line about her becoming Christian and then yeah, going to
Uh,
Florida or something.
I don't even remember hearing that part, but man,
Yeah.
now I gotta rewatch the whole show to hear that part. Yeah, it's gonna
Yep.
be worth it.
Yeah. I think it was in the prom episode where like they're in the limousine and he's like, what happened to your
Oh,
friend? And then she's like, oh yeah,
okay.
she I think she like joined a cult or something and then went crazy and then
Uh,
then became super religious and moved to Florida.
yeah.
But yeah. Um
Uh,
but yeah, a really great show and one of the few long running series of Cartoon Network that probably one of their longest running, definitely not the longest running, because the
hmm.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force probably went on for longer, and then I'm sure there's probably older stuff that even went on before then.
Yeah.
But
I definitely gotta watch that as well at some point.
yeah, I mean that one. Yeah, it's not like there's not really a story there, but
Yeah,
the
some
episodes themselves are funny.
yeah,
if you like very out there kind of humor, it's
yeah,
good. It's got a lot of great quotable moments.
yep.
But yeah, back to the Venture Brothers. The finale, right? What
Oh
did you
yeah,
think? Like,
that
was it?
I'm
Yeah. Hmm.
so for spoilers, of course.
Yep.
Again, I think
Spoilers.
we said that as well. That finale went crazy.
Yeah.
Like the way things ended up, like we learning a little bit more about Monarch's hatred for Dr. Venture,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
it ended up just being as quickly as it came, quickly went away because he finds
Yeah.
out the truth of it, and then it's like he still hates him. There's so much to
Yeah.
hate about Dr. Venture, about the Monarch that we still don't
Right.
know about, but
Yeah. That's true.
it's crazy. And then just the way things kept going, and then the
We don't really
absolute
fully know why he hates Dr. Venture. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like
there's
at
so
least like a
much.
reason per se, right? Because he said there was like hundreds of reasons.
Yeah.
But like, was
I'm
there like a straw that broke the camel's back, or was it just a gradual progression of hate that was just always there?
yeah, and then we did know that they hung out as kids as well, and they don't really
Yeah.
bring that
Yep.
much up
Exactly.
either.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a few flashbacks of it, but never
Right. And then
like
even
things
that
could have
one.
happened in their childhood that made him hate him as well. Maybe.
That's true. Oh, maybe the monarch. Oh, well, no, because he didn't remember seeing the
Yeah,
pictures, right?
but maybe it's just an eternal hatred that he doesn't
Yeah.
fully know,
Exactly.
but absolutely believes.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like his wife said, he's in an eternal struggle with his himself, like
He hates
the most
himself
classic.
more than some
Yeah,
artists
right.
hate their
Yeah.
own.
Oh man, that line
Yep,
in
that's so
retrospect.
good. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. At one point, the monarch says that he hates himself more than most villains hate their archers, their arch nemesis. And then in the finale, they reveal that Dr. Venture and the monarch are in fact clones of each other,
I
just one
know
slight
this,
difference.
like they were playing it out so much for
Right?
a
Yeah, they
while
were like,
that
are they
they were making it think
brothers?
that they were brothers or
Yeah,
twins.
right. But no,
And I was
neither.
all 100% on board to believe that because they also talked about how Jonas Venture,
Mhm.
like they kind of implied it in a
Right?
way that
Yeah,
he slept with the
exactly.
monarch's
Yeah,
mother.
and I think ultimately he didn't. Which
Yeah,
that's another
apparently
thing.
not. He just, I guess he used the DNA or something or some. I don't even
Yeah,
remember
no, no,
what
yeah, yeah. He
exactly.
said that he used he just took
Yeah,
one of the failed clones of Rusty, not even Rusty, just
yeah,
or not even failed, just a clone that he spliced in Babu DNA as a test in order
yep,
to counteract the balding.
yeah.
Yeah, but
All the reasons to splice baboon
yeah,
DNA into
right.
something.
uh,
Uh,
but yeah, that's another thing actually as to how smart Dr. Venture actually is, like a Rusty Venture, right? Because like
yeah,
he didn't invent the cloning technology, but he was competent enough in it to continue the work.
yep.
Maybe not necessarily developing any new breakthroughs in the technology, but
Mhm.
like he could create clones of other people, right? Because like
Yeah,
his grandchildren didn't like the original Doctor Ventures. He didn't have clones of Hank and Dean, right? So he had to, Rusty would have had to make those himself.
yeah.
And then also another question: how good or bad was Jonas Venture really? Jonas Venture Senior.
Yes, that is a good question that I think we should talk about after a break.
And welcome back. So, last we left off was speaking of the morality of Dr. Venture and how maybe he wasn't as benevolent as he may have seemed. Very much like another character from a show that we're going to be talking about right now.
That character, of course, that we're talking about is Rose Quartz from Steven Universe.
Are the crystal gems will always
That is
stay.
correct.
Yep, we'll delve more into her, but let's first get the premise of the show off first. So,
Yeah.
Steven Universe is a show on Cartoon Network that was created by Rebecca Sugar. It's about this boy named Steven who was
hmm
the son of a human man and an alien gem creature.
Female
And
presenting, but
yeah,
technically
so,
agendered.
yeah, no gender for these aliens. But for the most part, they go with female pronouns.
That's
That,
true. Yeah.
yep. So the boy's name is Steven, and he inherits her mother's gem, the
hmm
rose quartz, that he lives with her alien allies, friends, known as the crystal gems. We got garnet, we got amethyst, and we got pearl. And for the first part of Steven's life, he's living with his son, but then they later develop a little house for him to have near their home bases, which is where we start off Steven's adventures in the shows, and we've got him essentially living with them, trying to develop his skills as a Crystal Gem warrior. But he starts out pretty weak as he has
Yeah.
no real control over any of his powers yet. And he has to develop them throughout the show. And gems tend to have special weapons that they use. We've got
hmm
Garnet using her gauntlets. We've got Pearl having
Okay.
her spear. And we've got Amethyst using her whip. And
So
the first
that's a very reminiscent of like the the team the Sentai team kind of thing, like from Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles, or
Yeah,
like where they all have their own weapon or color or whatever, right?
yeah,
It's
and they'd
very
be able
much that
to,
team dynamic.
yeah, and they'd be able to
Mm.
summon it with their devices. The gems are able to have it store their weapons in their own gems in a way, and
Yeah.
they can summon them at will.
Yeah, they gotta have like
And
there's like a mini universe in there, like a pocket dimension. That's what I'm looking for.
yeah,
Yeah, pocket
they even
dimension.
delve into that in one of the episodes where we go
Yeah,
into Pearl's gem. And
correct.
it's
Yeah.
crazy to see how that ends up working out. But yeah, Steven actually with his mother's gem inherits
hmm
her shield,
Yeah.
which is extremely powerful, extremely durable.
Or that was
And
her like was that Rose's
out,
weapon or what was Rose's weapon?
yeah, Rose's weapon was her shield. She also had a sword that she
Mm,
would keep with her pet lion that
right,
she
yeah.
revives. And we find out that she has the ability to revive people. She has healing abilities, but we don't
Mhm.
find out till later on that they can even bring back the living.
Yeah.
And we've other things we can talk about is how Steven in the first episode he's able to summon a shield, but it kind of ends up being a little bit of a fluke because he's not able to summon it again for several more episodes. He doesn't
Yeah,
really get
it was
to.
really a slow burn, right? Like
Yeah,
at the beginning of the show, it was because like they really like they didn't get into the the whole gem battle or hierarchy of things for a while, right? Like it started
yeah,
very much like a really laid back kid show. The whole
yeah. It
setting was
had
even
kind
on a
of like
beach,
it
right?
had like a monster of the week kind of
Yeah, very monster of the week.
construct.
Yep.
They had these gem
Very much like the Venture Brothers that
monsters.
we were talking about earlier. Yeah. It started,
Yep.
yeah, like you got to start world building. It's a very common practice that we see in media where like the first season is very much just that world building, establishing characters, and then after that you get the payoff.
Yeah. And Steven and the Crystal Gems end up fighting these monsters. Sometimes there's not even monsters, sometimes they're things that control objects. Like there was this one thing that controlled a pyramid, one thing that controlled a lighthouse. It kind of made it like a
Yeah.
monster. And then there would be gems that could control like clothing. They took control of this like a mascot of a
Oh
restaurant.
yeah, the mascot, right? The Frybo,
Yep.
right? It was
Yep,
a big
Frybo,
set of
and
fries, just like
yep,
Frylock.
and ends up using the fries like tentacles. Very
Yeah.
creepy imagery. And then yeah, the gem they we find out later on that they're like corrupted gems that
Hmm.
ended up being real like sentient gems in like beforehand, and they get corrupted by like a blast from this diamond hierarchy that was fighting rose quartz to take control of the planet, because the pink diamond was the one who like the youngest diamond in a way, and the least experienced diamond was supposed to take over the earth and take its resources to create more gems,
Hmm.
but then rose quartz ends up stopping her, and in the show it even ends up shattering her as like a legend, and the diamonds get furious of this happening and ends up just making it so that all the gems that were left on earth, both the ones part of the resistance
Hmm.
and part of the homeworld army,
Yeah.
into these creatures without any conscience and just rampaging.
Hmm.
And it was crazy to find out later on in the show that that's what happened, and that all these creatures that they're fighting in like the first seasons were creatures with thoughts before.
Yeah,
And
right. Like when they discover in a zombie movie that the zombies can be cured, and it's like all the people who killed zombies now have to deal with the more repercussions of that. I
yeah.
mean, that never gets like fully dealt with, I don't think,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't have
Luckily
it.
in the show they luckily whenever they defeat the monsters or any or what however, they're able to put the gems into bubbles and keep them safe
Yeah,
in
right.
their
Very family
temple.
friendly, very
Yeah.
much.
So they're able
Yeah.
to they don't break them or anything, not like the
Yeah,
ways
makes
the
sense.
diamonds would.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was probably, yeah, like it was. I'm sure it was definitely done to a degree because of the family friendly, but they definitely planned ahead, right? They also
Yeah.
like they knew that they were gonna bring like that they were gonna like reveal that that was like a disease.
Yep, they even
Um,
have like one of their old allies that they thought were gone for
yep.
the longest time. Bismuth comes back, and then like they have two like during her second appearance,
Hmm.
she sees that all the gems that they've collected throughout the show are in like a certain room, and
Mm.
Bismuth even notices some of them as previous allies and tries to free them, and then they
Right,
end up
without knowing that they're
r-
corrupted,
yeah,
or at
because
least
if
understanding what that
yeah,
means.
because in the show, if the crystals aren't bubbled, they will reform back into their light projected monster form or whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
And so that's why they got to keep them in the bubbles,
Hmm.
which is crazy to think that the just how they managed to think of these ways. Like they had to have done something like that similar back in Homeworld, but using it for their own purposes. That we
Yeah.
hear a little bit of a notion of it from another character called Peridot, that they thought she appeared in the same room as well and saw all
The
the
bubbled,
bubbled
yeah.
gems, and said that she thought she was about to be harvested, which doesn't
Yeah.
get delved into, but it's crazy. Like this is a thing that she's aware of, something that happens on
Right,
Homeworld
yeah.
that's super similar.
What
But
does that even, did we ever figure out
it's,
what harvesting means?
nope, we have no connotation. There have
Mm.
been theories that like harvesting is something that they do, that they repurpose the gems into something else or something,
Yeah, okay.
but nothing concrete
Mm.
as
Something that because one of the gems you mentioned, the I think bismuth, right? She's
yeah.
a blacksmith type character.
Yep.
So
She
one thing that
was
I'm thinking about is if the gems are so powerful, at the very least, they can like creating their physical construct from light, right? And they can
yeah.
create their weapons out of light. So then why did you need a blacksmith? Unless you needed to, you know, craft special types of materials. Special
Yeah.
types of materials like gems.
Yeah, that's
What if they were
interesting.
repurposed into weapons? Like just
Oh,
like inanimate weapons and like what if Garnet's fists or like Pearl's staff are actually gems that like have their own personality?
yeah. Something similar to like what happened to Lapis when she was put into that mirror.
Oh, that's yeah,
Maybe to like a
exactly.
stronger
Yeah.
degree.
Right. Yep.
Harvesting
Yeah,
could be a
yeah.
whole stronger degree of that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, one of the characters in the show, that's true. They were
another
trapped
character.
in a mirror at the
Yep.
beginning, or at least when they were introduced.
Yep. So many amazing characters. Lapis is probably my favorite character.
Yeah, oh,
The
she's
way her
great.
character is,
She
how
was crazy
powerful she
strong.
is, but yeah,
Yeah.
she's able to control the whole ocean.
Hmm.
And that was while she was like crippled. Her gem was cracked and she wasn't at
Yeah,
full
yeah.
capacity.
Yep.
And then we find out later on in the sequel series, Steven Universe Future, that like other Lapises envy her
Uh-huh.
power as well.
Yeah, well, makes
She
sense.
has great control over it, and like she never like played it off as like she's better than everyone else for that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I wonder if that happened because of the growth from being fused with what was her name?
uh,
The orange one?
yes, Jasper.
Jasper. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, after being merged with Jasper, if like that kind of emotional trauma, at least that she was able to grow from it, right?
Yeah.
Especially forming a new bond with Peridot.
Hmm.
That either that or like I wonder if it's that or if they were just born with it, right? Maybe it's a Maybelline kind of thing.
Yeah.
We don't
I
know.
mean, Jasper was also loved being fused with Lapis because of how powerful she
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
And the way that she treated Jasper while keeping the fusion locked down in the bottom of the ocean.
Hmm.
Loved the power of her and tried everything that she could to reach that power again with other monsters. Which, speaking
Yeah,
of fusion,
I was
fusion is
about to
another
say.
big
Yeah.
aspect of the show as well.
Yeah, tell me about fusions. We've said that word a few times now.
Yup.
I'm sure listeners understand the general concept of it, but what does it mean in this show?
So in the show, gems back in Homeworld were able to fuse with more of the same kind of gem to create a bigger version of themselves
Hmm.
to for any stronger necessary use for that one gem for. We saw
Right.
that
Case of
a whole bunch of
emergencies or
rubies.
like
Yep.
special
For
scenarios, right?
yeah, mainly for combat uses because it would
Right.
greatly increase their strengths.
Yeah. I'm
But
surprised
even
that like sorry, go ahead, continue.
But
But
yeah, like even though the the gems were able to fuse with themselves,
mhm,
the rose quartz finds out most likely not like having it be the first occurrence, but
mhm.
like reacting positive to it that gems of different kinds are able to fuse and make a whole new gem as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're treated as like abominations or just as
Yep,
it's
back in
like
Homeworld.
taboo. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
something because like I you mentioned that they are almost always exclusively used, or at least back in Homo they were used
mm,
for battle, right? Like as a power up
yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah,
and almost always done with themselves.
yeah. That's
Which
all we
right,
ever
like
saw on the show.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's the clairvoyant race or mineral?
The
The
diamonds?
not the diamonds, the clairvoyant ones, the ones like the ones that she
The
fused with
sapphires?
ruby. Yeah, sapphire. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what like if they fused multiple sapphires, could they like see better into the future, further into the future? How would that work?
Yeah, that's an
'Cause, like that would
interesting
be a
topic.
non-battle
Yeah,
application,
perhaps sapphires are limited to how far they can see into the future by
possibly.
themselves.
Like
We
Doctor
find out.
Strange, not Doctor Strange, Doctor. Well, I mean, also Doctor Strange. He could use the time stone, but I'm thinking of
Yeah.
Doctor Manhattan, who could only see up until his death.
Yeah.
But like for some reason didn't realize that it was his death. I don't know. May have to
Yeah.
rewatch that or
But
reread.
yeah, in the episode where we see Sapphire with the blue diamond, we find out that there are issues with their clairvoyance as they aren't actually able to see
That's true.
the ultimate outcome because of
Yeah.
the way Ruby reacts in that scenario.
That's yeah,
And
yeah.
they're
Well,
like
yeah, I guess maybe fusing the dang it, where are they again?
Ruby and Sapphire.
No, no, just sapphires. Yes, fusing
Yeah.
multiple sapphires would just create a sapphire that could see it more accurately. In which case,
Yeah.
wouldn't they just
Yeah,
have
I'm
one on tap?
sure like gems did like they didn't have every single gem have a purpose for fusing.
Yeah, oh, that's
I'd
true. Yeah,
imagine.
maybe they didn't even have a way to fuse, right? Like,
Yeah,
for all we know, maybe like, or not even that they had like, maybe they could fuse. It's just it was never like needed.
yeah. But
Eh,
yeah,
but
one
still,
of
why
the
wouldn't you just do it just to test?
I know, right? They probably saw like just saw as improper
Or maybe
the
it just didn't
diamond
do
way.
anything.
Yeah, I mean the
I don't
way
know,
that
improper to fuse to just to
the normal
lapises
gems,
together.
the two lapses,
Not
yeah,
lapises, two
sapphires.
sapphires together. Because
Yeah,
isn't the whole point that more like
yeah. That's something that could potentially, if they ever continued, might be able to. I mean, it'd probably be need to be done with like a flashback or something if they ever want to delve into that
yeah,
again.
that's true.
But as far as we can tell, those were a gem that just had no purpose to fuse. I'm sure
Right, right.
fusion was something that they limited themselves with often.
No, yeah, actually, that's probably also more of a good reason that it's just more like in general the practice of a fusion seemed to be taboo, like unless you had
Yeah.
like a very specific reason, and even then
Yeah.
it was limited to those people, right?
Especially with the first appearance of Garnet, which of course this biggest
Uh-huh.
one big spoiler for the first part is that she is in fact a fusion,
Yeah,
and that when she first appears, she's very much not how she looks like and how we see her in the beginning. She's
yeah,
very
yeah.
much like unorganized, very like off-colored in a way that she kind of looked like cotton candy.
Mm.
That she was very much something unorganized and something that the diamonds very much were quick to want to get rid of.
Yeah, anything that wasn't perfect or pristine or just fit their
Yep.
little cookie cutter world,
Yeah.
they would
Eh,
discard.
Yep. But fusions are something that they delve onto very much so with all the other characters as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
Not just Scarlet, but thing like the first act of fusion we see in the show is
Hmm.
of Pearl and Amethyst. That's our first real introduction to fusion.
Mm, yeah.
And we see that characters that even though they're not like super like connected with each other are even able to fuse, but
Yeah, an
um,
interesting aspect of the fusion, I guess mechanic, right? Like to use video game terms,
yeah.
um, is that they do a dance right before they fuse.
Yep,
It's
something
like a
yeah.
little because all right, so obviously it feels like a bit of a like the whole concept itself is it's not an original concept necessarily. uh Obviously it feels like it's heavily inspired from Dragon Ball Z, but
Yeah.
obviously Dragon Ball Z took it from other things, and in general the concept of fusing two things together, I think even I'm sure there's like a Power Ranger style Sentai team where all the members just fuse together
Yeah,
into
like
one
all the
big unit.
mechs become a
Yeah,
gigantic
exactly.
mech.
Right, like that's been a thing
Yeah.
for a while. So like
Like Mecha Shiba.
yeah, Mecha Shiva. Yeah. Uh so then having this be because in we see we do end up later seeing like base fusions, right? Like of just three or four, two or three rubies fusing together, and like they don't really do a dance. They just kind of it's more like it feels
They
more
just
like a
they
cheerleading
just do like a
routine.
pyramid, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure Rebecca explained in some interview or something
Mhm.
that
Ah,
like
okay.
dancing is something that's supposed to like enhance the fusion's like duration or something
Ooh, so like a
along
longer
those
dance would
lines.
be
Something to enhance it, but like fusion
interesting.
can be something done like almost instantly as long as like both
Oh yeah,
parties
if
are
they're
able to
touching.
like
Okay, that
yeah.
makes sense. So
But
then the
yeah,
more complex the dance, then the better the fusion is, or something like that.
yeah, something along those lines.
Not
I
even
don't remember
complex, but like the
exactly.
better that like the two people's like dances. I mean, but also obviously the complexity of the dance you said, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be
Yeah.
cool. Like if you just had like Steven's just dancing the whole episode and you don't know why. And then at the
Yeah.
very end you see like just Garnet running like full force, just running the whole
Uh,
episode. We just didn't know.
yeah.
And then like everyone was like,
It was
Steven,
like,
why are
no
you
one interrupt
dancing?
me.
Yeah. It was
No
like he's
one
just in the
interrupt me. I gotta
background and
do
then we
something. I
don't see.
gotta do this.
Yeah. And then that's how the show ends.
Yep, there's just fused forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The fusions were always made
The
into
most
very much.
powerful fusions.
Yep.
It's a really,
Yeah.
really long dance and a very, very long run.
Yep.
Uh,
One day I'm sure she'll put that into some of her work. I don't know how, but she's gotta do it. We gotta find out how this ends up working.
yes.
Uh,
Well, enough about Steven Universe. Because now it's
Never enough about
my
Steven
turn.
Universe.
No. Now it's
No.
my turn.
All right, Jonathan. What did you bring today?
So, today's show I am going to be discussing is Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Skilled, courageous, and ever vigilant. Leaping into action, Buzz Lightyear hurtles to the
It's a
rescue.
very, very
His
old
ongoing
show
mission.
from the year 2000.
Very, very old show. Wait,
Yeah.
didn't they just come out with a movie like a year or two ago?
Yes, they did. And I will be talking about that a little bit later on. But um, what I first wanted to talk about was how this show was a very this was a very fun show in my childhood, right? It was in that sweet era where like a bunch of Disney movies were getting all those animated shows. Right, like you had the Aladdin show and the Timon and Pumbaa show, Lion
Oh
King
yeah,
stuff. Um, there was Tarzan show, right? An animated series.
Carson had a show.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, Tarzan had an animated show.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah, a lot of those shows. And along those direct-to-video releases was the spin-off to the Toy Story franchise. So the home release or the official release was voiced originally by Tim Allen, who voiced Buzz in the original Toy Story series franchise, and I think
Yeah.
he still does it, right?
Uh-huh.
And the yeah, he was pretty much the only returning member from the entire Toy Story series. Everyone else was pretty much just from Buzz's universe, right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty much a brand new cast aside from Buzz. And that cast included a very interesting bunch of aliens. So, yeah, so something that you mentioned earlier was the Lightyear movie. So, this Lightyear movie came out in 2002. And when I heard about it coming out, I was very excited because I thought, hey, they're finally going to adapt that classic show I remember way back in the day from Saturday morning cartoons. But
Classic
in,
show.
yeah, but instead we got like all right. So it was a decent movie. Like I in retrospect, after some time, it was fine. It was definitely a paint by numbers um, sci-fi, but here's one of the things that I thought they were lacking in is the alien creatures.
Uh,
So, like I said, in the Buzz Lightyear Star Command TV show, they had a very colorful cast of characters. They had Mira Nova, who was she was a princess from a planet who had telekinetic power or telepathic powers and could also phase through objects.
uh,
There was Booster, who was a janitor originally at Star Command, but then through the first movie adventure, he gets promoted to I think cadet or at the very least a junior member of junior a junior space ranger. And then we have XR, who was my favorite character. He was a little robot who originally was um, very robotic and very, just just a very, very generic robot. Like, hello, may I obey your order, whatever. But that doesn't last very long because at the very end of that first mission, he gets destroyed. And
Mm.
yeah, originally the plan was that the engineers who designed this robot, who were the little green men, if you remember from the Toy Story movies, they were those two
Yeah,
little.
the chew toy ones.
Yeah, I remember the
Yeah,
claw,
they could
right? The claw
speak. Yeah,
machine.
the
Yeah,
claw. You
yeah.
gotta do it with your lips moving up from one side of your face to the other.
Yeah. So they built XR. A big part of their mentality, right? Their ability to work together is that they have this small planet looking MacGuffin, right? It's what drives the plot. It's basically the thing that people need to okay, so it's a massive it's a small planet inside of their planet that allows them to all communicate with each other. So,
Ah,
so yeah, they communicate as a unimind is what they call it.
so not like a
And
hive mind,
no,
but
well, yeah, I mean, I imagine it's just what they call it in the lore of Buzz Lightyear.
okay.
But yeah, so see, it's these kinds of details that get lost when you just make a bunch of humans without like well I mean I get it like um the Lightyear movie, right? The 2002 light or 2022 Lightyear movie starring Chris Evans.
Oh.
um it's a very similar character profile in that he loses his partner who's his best friend, and because of that he refuses to take on any teammates until he has to choose a ragtag group of teammates who eventually become his team. Right? The same concept. Now, there's a lot
Yeah.
of details that are different. In the 2000 in the 22 movie, we have more of a time travel segment or aspect to it. We have all of the teammates are humans, and there is an AI cat robot named
Ah,
Hux. Yeah. Mhm. Which here's another thing. If this was supposed to be like at the very beginning of the Lightyear movie, there's a line that says something along the lines of, Buzz Lightyear went to space and blah 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 blah. And there was this movie, and Andy bought the toy. This was the movie that made him buy the toy, or something like that.
yeah. So
So
this is the movie that made him get it from the original, that made him get into it in the original Toy Story.
yeah, and if that's the premise, this movie felt a lot more mature than something that Andy would watch at that time.
Yeah, Andy was
Whereas,
just into cowboys. You think he
yeah,
understands time traveling
not
theorems
yeah, the
and
sacrifice of like generational trauma,
yeah.
all that. Like I,
You
you
think that's
know,
what's gonna get a kid to buy a blanket based on that character? Nah.
yeah, and I felt like almost like a useless detail at this point.
Yeah.
They should have
They
just dropped that line at the
they
beginning.
should have just made a new Andy. Just make
That's true. Yeah, Andy 2.0. Maybe they
yeah.
referenced. Maybe they mean a different Andy.
Maybe they could have said this is Andy's kid, Andy 2, and this is the movie that made him get his own Buzz Lightyear.
There you go. Or it could be Sid's kid, who he named Andy because he hated him so much that he wanted somebody to pass on the trauma to.
Yep, so we made him watch the movie to get all that trauma.
Exactly. But no, again, it was a fine movie. I wouldn't call it a classic by any means. Um, the again, it was weirdly mature, but not. it didn't really like pull the plug fully on it, right? It was it kind of tried to, have its cake and eat it too in trying to be a family film, but still trying to be very edgy and mature. Like,
Edgy and mature in which ways?
so yeah, there was a lot of so one of the things that they did with there wasn't really alien characters, but there is like planet hostile creatures, like
Uh,
vines, vegetation, insects.
Vines?
Yeah, just vines that swing around, wrap them up, try to eat them.
No bug-eyed creatures or anything.
No, yeah, they had insects, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they were like the size of, I'd say, a small drone, or maybe
Uh,
mid, like a, one of those quadcopter drones. But yeah, they're like the action scenes were pretty good. They were pretty violent too.
uh,
When they cut up the bugs, they were pretty gruesome.
oh,
But then, again, they were still just bugs, so it was still relatively family friendly.
yeah. Nothing
Uh,
against killing bugs
no,
for
no, no,
kids, no.
but then they did the whole future. All right, so all right, spoilers for the movie
The
Lightyear.
bugs were his father.
The bugs were him the whole time. He was the bugs.
The bugs were the clone of Buzz Lightyear
Yeah.
with
They were them from
baboon
the year
DNA.
3000. Yes. Spoiler alerts. Uh, so it turns out that Zurg in this movie, in the Lightyear movie, is Buzz in a future that he was able to come back in time. And he needs, I don't know, there was like it was a very, it was more mature than I would expect something Andy to be very excited about, right?
Were there
Because
any kids in the theater that you watched it in that were like, oh
oh, I didn't
yeah,
watch it in the
happened?
theaters. I saw it streaming.
Were there any kids in your house that were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy all this merch?
Legally, no.
Illegally, there were kids.
Pirate, don't have you ever downloaded a kid? Don't.
You
Uh,
wouldn't steal a kid.
exactly. Well, yeah. Hopefully not. Uh, so there weren't really any child characters. Another character was voiced by Taika Waititi, who, if you know, is also the director and I believe writer of some of Thor: Love and Thunder, as well as a lot of other
uh,
movies. He also voiced Korg in the Marvel Universe, right? He was
oh,
the British rock talking guy. Hey, it's
yeah,
me,
the
Korg.
resistance is on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was Taika Waititi. He plays himself in every movie, which is fine.
The rock monster?
Yeah, he was a rock monster. Same CGI too. They didn't even change the assets.
Same
No,
lore, backstory, name.
no, he played like maybe a goofier, lankier looking version of himself. But maybe even that's a stretch. Could just be unrelated to how he looks like at all. But the point is that he was kind of the closest thing to a child character, right? Because the other characters in the movie that could be child characters, or at least the child surrogates, would be either Buzz's partner at the beginning, who I think her name was Aisha, who then becomes a grandmother to the new partner, who to Buzz's new partner, who is Kiki. So she could
Ah.
have been the child surrogate, but again, also seemed more mature, right? Like she didn't seem she seemed I'm like more unexperienced than immature.
Mm.
Immature still obviously, to the point of her youth, but not more so than Buzz. Buzz was still relatively young in this movie. Uh,
Yeah. What about
uh,
that robot cat? Was a robot cat a kid surrogate or was it?
no, also, but you would think the
No.
cat the cat was adorable though. The cat was great. It was fun. You would think the cat would be what Andy would want, not Buzz.
Yeah.
um,
Imagine how different Toy Story would have been if it was just a cat instead of Buzz.
yeah, right.
Yep.
Or they just slowly start bringing all the action figures from the Buzz Lightyear movie into the Toy Story universe, and they replace the entire cast. Yeah, James Brolin played Zurg slash Old Buzz, and also he did a good job. But he also wasn't really like he obviously the furthest thing from the child surrogate. So I wouldn't really know. It felt like it was trying to be too kidsy, but it wasn't, right? It was definitely more mature than that.
Yeah.
Still not an amazing movie, you know. Definitely a lot of heavy plot points. It starts with Buzz crashing their space colony on a planet, and he thinks he's doomed them to be stranded there. His mission from then on is trying to get them off the planet. But that in itself is a pretty heavy toll to express to what was probably like an 11-year old or an 8-year old. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I think it really could have benefited from having that mix of cultures of alien. Um, what I'm gonna call the Star Trek factor, because I think one of the great things that Buzz Lightyear Star Command did, and something that a lot of kids shows did, in at least from my generation, and I'm sure they still do it in these modern day kids cartoons, but taking things that are adult media, right, like adult books, adult shows, and then making like a parody or even just um, like a kid's version of it, right? So Buzz Lightyear Star Command really kind of made itself a parody, not a parody, just a kid's version of Star Trek, in so much so that um, they were not an exploratory committee. So that was a difference, right? It was definitely not a peaceful utopian future. They were
Like
still very
Star
much.
Trek is, right?
I'm sorry.
Like Star Trek is, right?
Yeah, Star Trek is a utopian future,
Oh, it
whereas
is? Oh, I
yeah,
had
the
no
Star
idea.
Trek is a utopian future. Well, I mean, it's utopian in their society, right? So
Ah, okay.
ideally, they start the Starfleet is supposed to go out and not intervene, but they're supposed to observe and catalog different cultures, right? Like to learn more about them. But the whole show is about how they keep either needing to interfere with cultures or whatever. Yeah, they're still war. Like, I think they still have warring clans, but generally it's not. They weren't a police force. Is the main point, right? Whereas Buzz
Yeah.
Lightyear of Star Command, they very much were just a police force, more akin to the Green Lanterns than Star Trek.
They were in
But
command of the stars.
right, but other things such as having the swath of alien creatures that have their own cultures, um, their own properties, powers, different things like that. Um, I thought that really, yeah. I mean that's a nice thing that I remember from the media that I consumed, and I think it would have gone a long way for them to maybe do that a little bit more, instead of doing the personal growth kind of mission. I mean, they could have done both, right? It wasn't even my critique isn't even about Buzz's growth, right? It's about the setting.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. A few last things I wanted to note were that Buzz was voiced in the movie originally by Tim Allen, like Toy Story, but then in the home release by Patrick Warburton, who voiced Brock from the Venture Brothers, right?
Yeah.
And he also voiced Putty and Kronk. He didn't voice Putty; he played Putty from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Uh, Speaking of Seinfeld, the voice of Zurg was played by Newman or Wayne Knight.
Oh.
Very brilliantly played, very funny. Um, and one of the cool things about Zurg was in this one, right, is he had a very his crew had a lot of personality. Whereas the Zurg in the Lightyear movie, they were just robots. They were just AIs. No real
Ah.
personality.
And was Zurg in the TV show also a time traveling version of Buzz Lightyear?
He was not. I don't think they ever gave him a full backstory in the Buzz Lightyear cartoon, at least.
Ah,
I
okay.
know in the Toy Story, I think the second movie, there was that joke of "I am your father," but I don't know
Yeah.
how true that was.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, and obviously, to tie it all off, there was a song at the very end of the movie called "To Infinity and Beyond," sung by William Shatner, just to really drive home the point of how Star Trekky Buzz Lightyear Star Command was.
Does How did the song go? Do you remember?
It was very, very Star Spangled Banner type, right? Like very patriotic kind of, um, like ticker tape parade kind of song, right? Like
Hmm.
the kind of song that you would hear while it's like they're parading the astronauts when they get back from their mission. Like,
Ah.
oh, look at the stars. Da, 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 da. I mean, I'm singing the theme to Big Guy and
Yeah.
Rusty, which is yeah, actually, yeah, that's a
All
very
right. Yes,
similar. Yep,
I get what you mean
yes.
now.
So yeah, but that's more or less what I had to say about Buzz Lightyear Star Command and my thoughts on the Lightyear movie.
Ah, all right. If there was one thing about the TV show that you could say to convince others to watch it as well, what would you say? What would you bring up?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily consider this something to go back and watch, especially if it wasn't something that you saw to begin with, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe if it is something that you saw as a kid, maybe going back and watching it. I mean, I didn't. I saw some clips, I saw some recaps, I went through the Wikipedia, but I didn't really go through the whole series, right? I
Ah,
did see
okay.
some of the episodes, just not I did watch the movie in double speed.
Ah,
Yeah, the voice acting and everything that was great. There was a lot of great lines in it. But here's the thing, it's not so much about recommending people going and watching that as much as I want people to like in the future make more things like that, right? I really liked
hmm.
that direction of creativity
Ah,
as opposed to I guess the way this one went.
yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
the way
that's
like the
kind of
movie went.
right.
The way
Yeah,
the
that would be
original
my call
movie.
to action. It wouldn't be so much to watch this one, but if you're making things, you know,
Maybe take
take
some
risks. I don't know.
reference.
Yeah, take risks, take references. I don't know.
Take
Hey,
lives.
take lies. Yeah, if you need to. Honestly, I'm just specifically talking about Buzz Lightyear Star Command. That if somebody is listening, and if they're gonna make another Buzz Lightyear property,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, treat it close
Then
to the sun.
yeah, hook him up, hook Jonathan up.
Yeah, or
He's
that too. Mhm.
yep. Yeah.
And that concludes our show for today. Thanks for following along. Next week, we'll be back with two brand new shows.
and a mystery third segment.
If you like what you heard, you can follow us on our YouTube channel as Second Bowl of Cereal or our Twitch at Second Bowl of Cereal.
Also, check out our Patreon at patreon.com, Second Bowl of Cereal, and our Spotify, Second Bowl of Cereal.
And if you want custom toys made or 3D printed designs, props, costumes, you can find me at Robot Monkey LLC on eBay or Etsy. Have a second bowl of cereal on us.
See ya.